Hey guys, Marsningen here, bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle video, and today we are going to be looking at the team building guide for the INT Gogeta EZA, finally dropping on Global. Now, one thing to mention is, in the news, it does say that, as usual for these kind of events, that the EZA should be dropping at 10:30 PST, but bear in mind that there is a big maintenance going on, which is not scheduled to end until midnight PST. So if you try and log on to the game at 10:30 PST when this is supposed to come out, the game will still be in maintenance for another 2 hours, and that's if it doesn't get extended. So do bear that in mind. So INT Gogeta, his weakness is movie bosses, just like the STR Gogeta. That's a trend that they're carrying on. If you did watch the Gotenks one I did, I know that's for JP, but we did talk about that briefly there. So movie bosses is the weakness category. It is a standard 30-stage EZA, so you can't stun from stage 5. You can't lower attack from stage 15, and you can't seal from stage 20. Plus, from stage 20 onwards, units that are AGL, Tech, STR, or Super type get an 80% damage reduction against Gogeta. So you obviously want to be building your team as mostly extreme physical or extreme int. So as we go down here, typical 30-stage EZA rewards, all the medals to EZA Gogeta, enough orbs, I believe, to fully rainbow a unit, 11 type Kais, which obviously you technically only need 5 if you've already got him at SA10, and then 30 stones from doing the stages, as well as 4 available from the missions as well. So let us go over to our first pick here. So movie bosses, actually very briefly, there's a couple of different leaders. A few of them are physical, so that's kind of where you want to lean towards. You can use Turles, I guess, but we'll talk about that in a bit more detail. And then obviously there are a lot of units on here that are really, really good, but remember that we're trying to focus on extreme physical and extreme int. So obviously this Broly is probably going to be the best leader for most people. Movie bosses category 170 for attack, 150 for and HP, 150 for defense. He's probably going to be the best leader because whilst he himself is not the strongest unit for single enemy events, at least until he transforms, he's the perfect leader for this because he's the right category, he's the right typing. He's going to be very, very good. Depending on the team build that you bring, you're probably going to be floating him off rotation, so that doesn't really matter too much, but he's probably the best leader to bring. Then, of course, if you have access to them, there is the LR, Broly, Cheelai, and Lemo. They are key 4 and 130 to stats across the board. So not as high a leader skill percentage-wise, but if you don't have that Broly, these guys are a very good substitute. They're a very interesting unit to bring on the team anyway, just because of all these abilities that they can potentially do, depending on the layout of the field of orbs. Giving everybody an attack buff, especially on certain rotations on this team, means that you're going to do devastating damage. Or if you have the ability to pick up 7 orbs of any typing, you can put them in a slot full of attacks, and then they're not going to take any hits. So they can be very, very useful for that. And then Turles is kind of the last resort. Movie bosses 3 key and 150. So very solid leader skill. Arguably better than the Broly trio. Unless you're bringing a team that's very LR heavy. Just for that little bit of extra percentage. But bear in mind that his main uses on teams is for the stun. Which he can't do. At least the support is going to be active, but the problem with Turles has always been if he transforms, he loses his support passive and just becomes a damage dealer. So if he transforms in this EZA, you're not getting that benefit of his support, and then he's not going to deal a lot of damage because he's of the typing that gets an 80% damage reduction. So he's kind of the last resort leader, I would say, for this event. So then we go on to our sort of top picks here. So physical final form Cooler. Even the fact that this guy still doesn't have his EZA, he's still a very, very strong unit. So this event is obviously going to be the kind of place where he's going to shine. He has the potential to do multiple super attacks if you have hidden potential investment in him. So yeah, he can just be devastating. In the earlier stages, it could be very easy for him to triple super and just win for you right there. So he is obviously a very, very good pick. So I picked this Golden Frieza as well because he's a free-to-play unit, but he has damage reduction and he supports movie bosses allies. And then obviously because he's Frieza, he is going to share a lot of links with the Cooler. So a rotation of this guy and that physical Final Form Cooler is going to work really well, because they do share a bunch of links, and then this guy is supporting the Cooler and is not just getting himself killed, because he does have some damage reduction as well. So he's very good. Even if you're not going to bring the Cooler, or you don't want to run them on rotation, the fact that he's a movie boss's support unit that has type advantage, I think he's very, very good for this event. So then we go on to the legendary Super Saiyan Broly. Now, obviously, with his EZA, he does infinitely stack, but EZA events are not really long enough for you to see the benefit of units that infinitely stack, like to their full potential. But he's still going to be really good. He's got decent defense at the start of the turn before you get off any of those supers. And then because of the way his passive is geared, you're probably going to double super with him at least every single turn, so you are at least getting 2 raises of his defense, which is what, 20% each time. So after he's done his first couple of super attacks, he is going to have reasonable defense, so you don't have to worry about him too much. So then I opened up the Beerus page because I completely forgot super types were on there, so you definitely don't want to bring Beerus because he's not going to do any damage. So then we have the LR Metal Cooler army. So they are very good because they can get off multiple additionals. They do have very decent stats. They are a solid unit overall. They are a free-to-play LR as well, so their availability is going to be very good for most players. So yeah, they're just a very solid unit to include on the team. Plus they do have some of those Wicked Bloodline links. They obviously don't link up as well as a lot of Blizzard or Frieza family type units. He's a really, really good support unit, fits on the category. He's got decent defense after his EZA, and then he's giving everyone 30% attack, 3 key, and 40% defense, which is obviously very, very good. So a rotation of him and the LR Metal Cooler army is obviously going to be very, very solid. Then we have Janemba. I mean, what do we really need to say about Janemba that people out there are not going to know, right? Like Janemba with his EZA, one of the best extreme defensive units outside of like the Golden Frieza tanks, and can hit incredibly hard if you can put him in slot 1 and get him attacked before he gets his turn. He's just going to be defending really well, dealing a ton of damage. I feel like he fits in that auto-include like slot. If you have this Janemba, he should be on your team for this event, basically. And then I feel like we don't really need to say much more about him, to be honest. So then we have this Golden Frieza. Had to include a Frieza somewhere. So post EZA, he does raise defense infinitely. He does have the same name, of course, as the free-to-play one. So you can't run him and the physical support unit at the same time. So honestly, in certain situations, I would argue that the physical free-to-play one is actually better, because this guy doesn't get the chance to infinitely stack his defense. You're not... there's a few target Goku allies, I guess, on the team, but you're not facing an enemy whose name includes Goku, so he's not getting like his full passive active. But he's worth bringing. I think, honestly, the free-to-play one, using him as a 3rd slot floating support unit, is probably better, but I thought I would include this guy here because he is still going to be very good for this event. So then we have LR Bojack. So I just recently did my Rainbow Level 10 Links showcase video for this guy. He is really good. He's slept on quite a bit, but he's a very good LR. Obviously, as you get to lower HP, his defense gets higher and higher, so he can tank really, really well. So he's going to be very, very useful in this event. Plus, don't discount the fact that on his 18 key super, he raises extreme class allies attack by 40%. So if you put him in slot 1 and get his 18 key super attack, everybody else is going to do so much more damage. So he's really, really useful for the team because of that. Now, his link set is a bit weird because obviously he has links like Heraclan, Galactic Warriors, which not a lot of other units outside of the Bojack crew have. But there is a unit that I thought I would include as an honourable mention, who I think a lot of people will forget about, and that is the physical Bojack from the World Tournament. Now, obviously, now he's been replaced by the STR one, at least until the name change update comes out, because he is just base form Bojack. But you could bring him and use him as a link partner for the LR. I think he is like the best link partner for the LR, or at least one of, because when he gets his awakening eventually, he will have Shattering the Limit, and then that's another link that the LR has. So after the name change update, this guy does become a little bit more useful for that Bojack team. But unfortunately, he's not like a support unit or anything, which is a shame. He's just, all he does is give himself a little bit of a boost. But at the end of the day, he's a decent enough unit. He's got type advantage. He's got these links that we like Big Bad Bosses. And if you want to bring the LR Bojack, he's going to be one of the best support unit. Well, the best link partners to run with him. And he's a decent enough unit that he's not just going to get you killed if you do choose to bring him to run alongside the LR. So going back to the list here, like I said, we've only really covered Extreme Physical and Extreme Int. The only times you would ever bring other typing units is if you really want to make up for a lack in defense. So for example, if you can't make a full team, like if you're missing a whole bunch of the units that we've mentioned above, you could easily sub in AGL or Tech Golden Freezer to be on the team just to be on tanking duty, because they're not going to do any damage, but they won't take any damage. So that can be useful for a lot of people. STR Janemba could fulfill the same kind of role, but obviously on Global he doesn't have his Easy A yet, so you're really just banking on his 50% chance to dodge, otherwise he probably will take quite a bit of damage. It is a shame that they restricted STR, because obviously the new Bojack and like LR Turles would absolutely tear up this Easy A, but with that 80% damage reduction you just can't use them. So I don't think there's any SSR only units that we forgot, because we did mention that Bojack. I guess there is like the Metal Cooler, because he doesn't have like a TUR. What does the physical Metal Cooler do out of all the free-to-play ones? Recovers damage dealt as HP. So that's not bad. I guess if you're bringing like Final Form Cooler, Metal Cooler Army, the Int Metal Cooler support, like if you're bringing a whole bunch of Wicked Bloodline units, this guy could be decent to bring, but I didn't really think he warranted being like an honourable mention. And then yeah, everybody else. I guess we didn't mention Physical Lord Slug. He could be useful. Obviously if he transforms, that's a couple of free turns of damage that you get, but he's not going to link super well with the rest of the team. I guess he does have Big Bad Bosses, Thirst for Conquest and Nightmare. We did see a few units that have them, so he could be a good unit to fill another slot as well. But a lot of strong options on movie bosses, a lot of good free-to-play options, including the LR Metal Cooler Army. So this should hopefully be a pretty decent one for most people out there, unless you're obviously brand new to the game. But then, I mean, Easy A events are not like end game content, but they're not like beginner content either. So hopefully you guys will have a good go with this one. So as always, if there's any units that you think I should have talked about or didn't really talk about enough, or I missed anything specific that you think we should have discussed, let me know down below in the comment section, and obviously we can discuss it further down there. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.